Time is 7 p.m. and I call the June 22nd, 2020, June 24th, 2026 meeting of the Village of Suffern Planning Board to order. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. All right, I know that the gentleman from Crave is here for Crave Grill and Lounge. It's a sign application. Please come up, state your name and address for the record.
Yes, so my name is Muhammad Ahmed.
You got to speak in the microphone.
Yeah, so my name is Muhammad Ahmed, and recent.
I don't think that's on.
I think it's on. Yes, speak
It's on?
loud.
No. Okay. You
Oh yeah, it's on, right? Now it's good.
Yell.
So my name is Muhammad Ahmed. Recently, I just borrowed this business. Like I'm new in this town. Basically, I live in New York City. So 2 months ago, just I borrowed this business. So I just installed the LED lights that I don't know about the rule of this town. So I have like a violation about the LED lights. So that's why I'm here today.
Okay. The feedback we got from the building department, the building inspector, is that the application for Crave is actually for window lighting, not a sign. And he can't tell if you're proposing indoor or outdoor lighting. So we would like some clarification on that.
No, I didn't ask anybody because I don't know about the.
Okay, but is it indoor or outdoor lighting?
It's outdoor.
It's outdoor. Okay. Rob, do you have any?
Yeah, we can, that's what I'm looking up now. I didn't
Okay.
realize it was. I can't get out here, so. Yeah, I mean, we just got the feedback from Alan, so, I'm sorry, from Adam. So it's outdoor, the lights are on the outside
Just the outside, yeah.
and they're flashing, or?
I can turn off the flashing if it's the problem, the flashing. So it's like regular, I can just lights. Like flashing, I can turn it off.
All right. So we just got the feedback. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to the building inspector, let him know now they know they're outdoor, and we'll find out what the code says. So we'll put this over for July. Okay.
So yeah, until July, I don't have to turn it on, or I have to turn it off.
I think. Okay, just keep it off for now. And whenever you, let me just look at the date for the next meeting. July. It's probably on the 22nd of July.
Wow.
Okay. So
Okay.
we'll talk to the building inspector and we'll go from there.
Okay,
All right?
no problem.
It's not going to affect your business. So
I know, no, it's not.
We'll-
But just the
we'll
thing is,
see
I
what we
spend the
can do.
money on it. That's why I'm thinking of like I just spent the money on it, probably like $1,000 on it. So that's why. Nothing else.
okay.
You know.
Yeah, no, we'll look into it. We'll provide that feedback and we'll get a definitive answer for you.
Sure, no problem.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you. Best of
Thank
luck
you,
with
sir.
your business.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We are going to jump to item number 3 on the agenda, 156 160 Wayne Avenue, the multifamily project. It's a continuation of the public hearing and a site plan review.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As you may recall, my name is Dan Richmond. I'm with the law firm Zarin and Steinmetz on behalf of the applicant. With me this evening is Pete Gato of Pete Gato Associates, the applicant's planning consultant, and Mike Calise, the project's engineering consultant. Since we were before your last board, Mike can explain to you further, we've gone through in-depth analysis of the stormwater, and in consultation with your consultant, NP, has come up with a plan that I think we all agree meets the requirements of a stormwater pollution prevention plan, including keeping post-development stormwater to the same peak flow rates as pre-development conditions. We're going to we'd request your board to issue a negative declaration tonight. I think Mr. Chair, you mentioned at the last meeting, this was like our 15th appearance before your board, so I think your board's very familiar with the project, although we're certainly here to answer any questions your board may have. We'd also ask if you could issue the site plan approval with conditions, although I have talked to your consultant and I indicate they still want some issues addressed. We think this could be conditions, but I defer to your board on that.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Franson, and before you begin, just so people know the process, Ms. Franson is a partner at a highly respected environmental planning, whatever else firm, Nelson Pope Voorhees. They work with the village. They work for the village. Not on behalf of the applicant. They work with the applicant. And, we refer to her. I talked to Bonnie. I know one of the other members reached out today. They've got engineers. So when people have brought up issues of concern in the neighborhood, we turn to Bonnie. They're the experts. I'm not going to tell you how long she's been doing it, but it's more than 20 years and less than 50 years. So she's got a lot of experience doing this. So again, there are drainage issues, water issues the public brings up. We refer to Bonnie and her expertise, her firm's expertise. They have access to engineers and all sorts of experts. So that's who she is. And Ms. Franson, when you come up, if you want to elaborate on that, just so people know what the process is. We're not operating in a vacuum here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we are retained by the village. We work for both the planning board and the village board. Our role is to review various development applications, review zoning amendments, prepare studies, but again, we represent the village. So as part of this role, we were asked to review this particular townhouse site plan. Nelson Pope and Voorhees is an environmental planning consulting firm. Our sister company is Nelson and Pope, which is our engineering arm. And so as part of this process, Nelson and Pope is doing the engineering review for the project, and that included specifically, because I know this has been a concern, drainage and traffic. And so back in March, the applicant had submitted plans. We did a little detour in terms of the process because the engineers for our firm didn't feel that the stormwater management design for the project went far enough to ensure that there wouldn't be an impact resulting from this project. There are long-standing drainage issues that we're aware of by Lake Antrim. They have existed well before this project came into play, and this particular project really can only solve what it generates and will contribute to the existing problem. And so the intent is to ensure that this does not exacerbate that existing condition. I will say that during this process, we actually made sure to talk to New York State DOT because ultimately Route 202 is their road. And we also made sure to consult with Mr. Cioffi, who is your DPW person who would maintain stormwater facilities. So I want to impart on everybody that this has been a very significant process of working with the village and getting the applicant to come up with solutions, again, that will mitigate impacts to the, to the most extent they can, to avoid significant adverse impacts. So with that, we have created a negative declaration. This is not the approval of the project. There are some memos that the engineers had put together. There's a memo I put together that kind of got pushed aside as we tried to address the drainage issue first. So those other matters have to come back or have to be addressed, and then they'll come back for site plan approval at some point I would guess in the near future. Of course, New York State DOT also has to still issue permits. So again, there may be a little bit further refinement. We're just getting closer to the end of the process when it comes to the site plan itself. But before you can even consider the site plan, you have to finish the environmental review process, and that's what we're here for this evening. If the planning board feels that it has looked at all the issues and you feel comfortable issuing a negative declaration, again, stating that this will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment.
Thank you. Is there any members of the board who have questions? I know that we've got a couple of folks here who have personally been affected by water issues, so please ask away, whether to Ms. Franson or to the applicant.
I do. I'm Rich Byrnes. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So, and I'm one of the people that that feels like constructing has impacted my basement over the years, right? So I have a sensitivity to the question. However, I also have a sensitivity to what you said previously, which is you can only solve the issue that's inside your box, right? So nobody's looking for on-the-house remediation out of this or at least I'm not looking for on-the-house remediation out of this project for a pre-existing problem. My question to you is in layman's terms, okay? I'm an IT consultant, not any kind of an environmental consultant. First is, from where do you derive your confidence in the proposed solution? If it were me, I'd be going around looking at other companies that have implemented these systems. I'd be talking to users, right? I'd be looking at history. I'd be talking to analysts. How do you do that?
So there are set applications that model the amount of stormwater runoff that is coming off from the site, and then subsequently you model what's going to come off of the site given the increase in impervious surfaces, and you determine what the rate of that runoff will be, the amount, the rate, and then also the water quality. And that's all required by New York State DEC regulations. My confidence simply comes from my engineers who have been doing this for a very long time, who reviewed their models, who looked at the outcomes and actually asked for them to revise the inputs so that it might more accurately, in their opinion, reflect what is actually happening out there. And my engineers have said that, the pre-construction runoff, the rate of runoff, it will actually help a little bit with these additional changes. One of the considerations is that this property kind of acts as a little basin already, because water comes in from 202, flows onto the property, kind of sits there, and then moves out through the drainage system. So because of that, they introduced a design element to continue to have that capacity that exists now. They also have made sure that consideration is given to the overland flow that's coming down the hill onto the property. So, but simply, stormwater is modeled. We rely on applications. There's a peer review, which is our engineers looking at their engineers' concepts and results. And then we suggested additional changes, again, to mitigate to the maximum extent possible. And again, this was done in consultation with the DPW director, who knows the infrastructure out there, and the New York State DOT as well, because they put some of this into place. We did ask them about other considerations. Are there any kind of clogs in the drainage system downstream and that they should be taken care of? I think that's sort of something that has to be addressed separate and apart from this particular project. If there's a drainage problem, it still has to be addressed.
Okay. So that's the first, so the design and engineering part of it, I understand. Then with any of these things, there's the implementation part, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's not the engineers that are going to physically. So you have a process by which someone qualified will install the system, will do all their work?
So their contractors will install the drainage systems, and that should be inspected. I'm guessing that it's inspected by the village as it's being constructed to ensure that it meets whatever the design requirements that are shown on the site plan. So if it has to be at a certain elevation, et cetera, whoever is doing the inspections for the village will ensure that it's being constructed in the manner that it's supposed to be as per the approved site plans.
And that's a standard, long-standing process?
That's my understanding, that's the process.
Okay. And then in terms of post-implementation, maintenance and support of any of these systems, also the responsibility of the property owners and subject to inspection by the village?
So the stormwater regulations require there be some stormwater maintenance agreement. And that is built in and mentioned in this negative declaration. That agreement is normally, and we like to have it filed actually with the county clerk's office. And so it's a continuing obligation that they have to maintain the stormwater system so that, for instance, over a long amount of time, there may be siltation into some of the systems, that entity that exists will have to maintain it, make sure that it keeps its capacity and continues to handle the stormwater flow for its duration.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions on the board?
Can you clarify?
Okay, one of them, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, we'll get some.
One of my questions, somebody asked at, I guess it was in April, about whether it was going to be an HOA or renters. In all the documents I've seen, an HOA was mentioned, and then, you know, the answer that was given was they weren't sure. Is there any clarification on that? Because I was like, wait a minute, I thought there was an HOA. These units were for sale, not for rent.
I honestly don't have, I can clarify that for the next time we appear before you, but certainly to address your colleague's concern, as one of the conditions of site plan approval, you can put in I mean, typically many municipalities have a stormwater management plan or an agreement with the municipality that requires the ultimate owners or owner to implement and make sure that the stormwater management practices are properly monitored and cleaned as necessary to ensure that they operate as designed. But again, I don't know if that's it's a standard condition in the area. I would guess that there's some condition along that line that would be a condition of your approval.
Anything about HOA or rentals? Do you have any?
I don't know. I can try and get clarification next.
Because everything, like I said, when it was brought up last, actually, I think it was April. You weren't here last month. I was a little shocked when you said you didn't know, because in all of the plans I've seen, and I actually read them all, it said HOA was mentioned in all of them. So my understanding, I think the board's understanding, was that these were for sale to the public and not a rental. And I'm not sure, Bonnie, is there any secret ramifications if it's one or the other? I'm not sure.
I'll hand it over to Bonnie, but just generally speaking, the form of ownership is an environmental.
No, yeah, I understand that. But when I see HOA and people in the village are asking the question, and then it's, I mean, literally,
we got to get
listed.
you this answer.
That's why I'm asking the question.
So I would say that there's no implication from a seeker perspective. The development's the development. The one potential consideration would be fiscal, but rental units and condominium type townhouses are assessed in the same way. So there's not a difference. If you had a townhouse on an individual lot, that's treated like you would treat a single family dwelling. And assessed like a single-family dwelling and not like a rental unit. But these are, if these are owner-occupied, they're condos, and they are going to be valued the same way that a rental would. We should know what the ownership is from the perspective of, to your point, who's going to, in the long term and for the site plan approval, maintain the stormwater. So if it's a rental, it'll be whoever owns the project. If this is a condominium association, then that homeowners association would have to take care of those basins. So we should know what that is, just to understand who's going to be maintaining it. But otherwise, at least from the development perspective and the impact perspective, it's still the same. It's just more about the long-term maintenance of determining who's going to do that, from my perspective.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
I can help on that too when you're ready for me.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Magrino.
Okay. So just a couple of things that Bonnie touched on and the applicant touched on. In terms of the stormwater maintenance agreement, yes, of course, we have a standard form stormwater maintenance agreement that the village uses. I provide that to the applicant. They fill in the particulars. The agreement itself we require that the owner put in the name and contact information of a person to contact at all times, 24 hours. You know, when I first started talking about doing this a long time, you know, cell phones weren't that big of a thing. Now, you know, we ask for contact information so that at all times there's somebody who can be contacted in case something goes wrong. And as Bonnie mentioned, this gets filed with the Rockland County Clerk's office. When this is initially signed, it's signed by the current owner. So if that current owner is an entity that owns the entire property, that's the person or the entity that's responsible. And the agreement says they are responsible if it gets sold, either it becomes condominiums, and then there's an HOA that we discussed. That HOA would be responsible. Or if it gets sold to another entity that's going to own and rent these, again, it's on the applicant to take care of that and make sure any changes that the village is notified. So, you know, in terms of stormwater maintenance agreement, it's specific to this project. Each project has different, you know, stormwater facilities, if you will, and different inspections that may be required. And so there's a checklist that we provide and that the applicant actually helps provide that we review that says, yes, this is what you have to do, and you have to submit a report once a year. So that's what happens with the stormwater maintenance agreement. I just wanted to clarify a couple things. Bonnie had mentioned the state DOT, it's the State Department of Transportation. You know, they're in charge of all state roads. So any development that's on a state road such as this, they are involved with in the project and at least in permitting. So, you know, this board's role, again, this had come up before, you know, this didn't just start a month ago, it didn't start 6 months ago or a year ago. This really started in 2011 when this project first got a zone change, and it's gone through a few different, you know, iterations, if you will. But, you know, the applicant has gone and made application as required to the planning board, which is this board, for site plan review. And as Bonnie mentioned, I just wanted to clarify, it's here for site plan review. Before the board is allowed to issue any approval on site plan review, as the board's aware, a determination under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SECRA, State Environmental Quality Review Act, has to take place, and that's what this board has been doing and what the process that Bonnie has been describing. And again, we've had calls. I was on call with the applicant, Bonnie, and the engineers, and just to try to make sure that the applicant was doing what was required to do in order that the village board could issue, the planning board could issue, if it found appropriate, a negative declaration under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And as Bonnie mentioned and the chair mentioned, we have a draft prepared for tonight to do that. If the board adopts that negative declaration, doesn't mean the review is over. The applicant has to go back, consult with our planner. I'll be consulting with the attorney as well, and the board will do further site plan review for certain, you know, specific items related to the site, and then when appropriate, if appropriate, the board would issue a final site plan approval with conditions, you know, which could include a number of things. But again, it's not a knee-jerk type situation. This has been here for quite a while. So I just wanted to point that out, especially with respect to the stormwater maintenance agreement.
Thank you. And just so you know, like I introduced Bonnie Franson, this is Robert Magrino. He is an assistant village attorney. He's also the planning board attorney. We consult him on all of our legal issues. We also have access to Terry Rice, who is the village attorney. Unlike Ms. Franson, I'm going to tell you, he's got 50 years experience.
Terry,
again,
not me.
yeah, Terry, not Rob. Yeah, he's not even 50 yet. But no, we don't do this in a vacuum. I want people to know what the process is. I talked to Terry Rice this morning. I talked to Mr. Magrino this morning. I've talked to Bonnie. You know, and then they liaison between the applicant and us. So, you know, it is a stringent process, and we're actually fortunate to have this kind of experience that we can rely on. Because again, people from the community said, hey, we've got an issue here, here, and here. I called Bonnie up, hey, let's look into this, which is why we've got their engineers looking at. None of us are engineers, but by the way, we do training every year on all. Some of them are a little drier than others. Miss Francie does an excellent session every year, just so you know. I mean, there's a canoe trip to Stony Point in the marshlands. You'll learn about the environment. You'll learn about solar panels and all this other stuff that's of interest. Laws and everything else, changes in laws. So, we do take this very seriously. Anybody else on the board have any questions at this point? I just want to clarify one other thing that will open up to public. You were talking about 24 units. I think now we're at 23 units. Is that correct? Okay. Parking, still 48, or are you down to 46?
Yeah, talking to the mic.
Yeah, you got to please in the mic.
Right. We have 2 per unit as per code, and then we have a couple extra guest parking spaces.
Okay. All right. And by the way, for the members of the public, this is, as Mr. Magrino said, this has been back and forth for over 15 years, different owners, different applicants. At one point, it was 60 units. We're down to 23. So, I mean, that's where we're at. Now, this is a continuation of a public session. If anybody from the public would like to speak, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
3 minutes.
And there is a 3-minute limit. So please try to adhere to that.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Ilona Armstrong. I'm a resident of Suffern, residing on Hillside Avenue. I'm here tonight regarding the proposed development on Wayne Avenue, and I believe there are still many significant concerns that have not been addressed. First one is a traffic impact. The traffic study states that consultant checked with the Suffern Planning Department and determined that there were no other projects in the study area. However, since that time, a large residential development on 37 Washington Avenue has moved through the approval process. I have not seen analysis showing that traffic from the Washington Avenue development was incorporated in this study. And it's a large development. This is especially concerning because the traffic study of this development already projects future traffic conditions approaching acceptable limits, even without accounting for traffic from the Washington Avenue development. Adding more traffic from another large residential project could further increase congestions, delays, impacts to school bus operations, emergency vehicles, access, pedestrian safety, and overall roadway conditions. Because the study does not appear to account for this significant additional source of traffic, I believe its conclusion should be re-evaluated. So traffic study, I believe, needs to be redone before we give any final decision. Okay, number 2, environmental impact. The environmental assessment form that can be available, that's available online, and the mapper summary, I'm gonna give it to you, I have it printed out. The report associated with this project location indicate aquifer in this area. I'll provide documentation to the records. An aquifer is an underground layer of soil or rock that holds groundwater. Once an aquifer is polluted, and we had it years ago in the Suffern, contamination can spread underground and may have long-term effects on the environment that are very difficult or even impossible to reverse. Stormwater pollution prevention plan addresses surface water, runoff, and drainage. In my understanding, it is not the same. The site is also a potential habitat, as per those forms, for endangered or threatened species, which is timber rattlesnake. I have not seen detailed analysis of these issues in the materials available to the public, and I believe they warrant further study. Next one is financial ability of the project. For development of this scale in our small village, it is important that the applicant, I believe, demonstrate the financial capacity for complete construction, maintain the property, and comply with all conditions imposed by the board over the long term. Incomplete or underfunded projects can create lasting impacts on the community including unfinished construction, deferred maintenance, or failure to meet required obligations. I believe the board should require clear documentation of financing as well as assurances that sufficient resources are in place to complete the project as proposed and to maintain it responsibly over time. Next one, lack of
There's a 3-minute limit.
sorry, I'm gonna be almost finished.
Well, how much is almost finished?
Lack of well, there's no one else, I think, talking about
Lack of
project. Lack of public awareness and transparency. For a project of this size, many residents still do not fully understand what is being proposed, not only about this project, but many projects. I continue to believe a public informational meeting would be beneficial so residents can review the project, ask questions, and better understand its potential impacts in simple language. I'll also be submitting a petition signed by local residents requesting transparency and the informational meeting. And next one is fair housing, transparency, and
Okay,
equal access.
You've gone over the 3, no, we've got to stop it here.
Okay, I'm going to give the petition about fair housing, that we need to make sure if this is going to be approved, we need fair housing.
Absolutely.
Not just on the paper. Thank you.
I will make sure that this is submitted to the village clerk. Anybody else have anything to say before we respond to anything? Ms. Franson, do you have any responses to anything that was said?
I have some responses. The applicant may have some responses. So with regard to 37 Washington Avenue, when we consulted with New York State DOT, we made them aware of that project in relation to 156. And when discussing 156, we made them aware of 37 Washington Avenue. In particular, we were concerned about the intersection from Washington that goes on to 202. The DOT, from a capacity perspective, did not express concerns with regard to the traffic. Number 2, the EAF online, it probably is referring to the Rampo River sole source aquifer. That encompasses a very large area along the Rampo River and then I believe coming up the Mawa River. This particular project will be on public sewer. So it's not that it's on septic, that it would be contributing to the aquifer. The impervious surfaces are being treated by the stormwater management basins. So that has to do with the SWIP and water quality, and again, the SWIP will be further refined so that it can be approved. Habitat, the negative declaration addresses the timber rattlesnake. The applicant had proposed a fence, a timber rattlesnake fence. Their habitat is up in the uplands. It's the woods, it's their basking places. They can travel some distance, but that's the purpose of having the fence in terms of keeping it off of this particular property. Anybody in that area, if there are timber rattlesnakes that are coming down, there are no protections. This one proposes one, but regardless, their habitat, there hasn't been any documented timber rattlesnake on the site, and their habitat, again, is farther up the hill where you have the rocky ledges where they bask. Financial capacity and lack of public involvement, that's really, I'm not going to touch upon that. I know that you've had numerous public hearings. These are videotaped. You make them, they're accessible, so, you know, people have to show up to these meetings. And those are my comments.
Thank you. Does the applicant have any comments?
I mean, I agree with everything she said. Again, for the timber rattlesnakes, we're going to have a fence. We're not going to affect the aquifer. The traffic study, 37 Washington, appears to post-date us, hasn't been approved, so our traffic study, I think, is more than adequate and studies it. The financial ability, again, another condition I assume this board, like many others, would be imposing, is requiring a performance bond to ensure that all infrastructure is created. And again, the lack, I think you said it yourself, Mr. Chair, at the last meeting, this has been the subject of extensive public hearings. And as I adopt Bonnie's statement that, people need to come to the public hearings and go to the village clerk and review the plans if they want to learn more about the project.
And can you elaborate on the fact that this is post-dating the Washington Avenue project?
Can I, sorry?
You said that this one sort of,
We
precedes.
preceded, so we adopt, we appropriately considered it as part of the baseline for the traffic analysis, all built or approved projects at the time. I think that's the reference that you made to, calling the village clerk to find out what projects were online or, have been approved recently. So again, I think our traffic consultant appropriately considered the baseline at the time. 37 Washington will have to consider us, their traffic analysis.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification for that. Anybody have any comments, questions, anything else there?
Yes, sir.
As far as transparency is concerned, documents are posted and updated constantly as required under the New York State Open Meetings Law. I've asked Mr. Simon, who records these meetings, to put the web address in either the lower third of the video or in the notes or whatever it's called. And for anybody who wants to know, it's https://suffernny.gov/planning-board/projects/ we publish all this stuff. And with this project, we've had several different permutations of plans and documentation and everything. And as far as I know, it's all up to date. It's there for people to view. And again, if Mr. Simon can add that web address just to make it easier when he posts the video, that'd be greatly appreciated. But it's there. And again, this is all a public thing. I don't know that it's prudent to hold a special meeting for one applicant. That doesn't apply to every applicant. Everything's public, everything's open. Most jurisdictions, and Ms. France would probably agree, have a public hearing for 1 or 2 months. This has been going on for 15 months. When we did the old Novartis property, that was probably open for 2 years, just to give everybody adequate notice and the opportunity to comment on things. And when people have brought up issues, they had water issues, we turned to Nelson Pope. They had speeding issues on 202. I called the mayor, he talked to the police department. The only thing and those are outside our purview. The only thing we didn't do is we didn't call the bus company or the school district about the bus stops. I suggest you go to a school board meeting and talk to them directly if you want anything changed with busing and things of that nature. And as a board, it's a state road. 202 is a state road. We cannot really influence what goes on there. I mean, if there's a need for a traffic light or a crosswalk, that's something as residents that, we should probably bring up to the village board and talk to our elected representatives about that. But as a planning board, that's sort of outside our purview.
Well, it's a state issue because it's a state road.
Yeah. So, all right, any other comments, questions?
Just want to, and the board appreciates the comments. I've listened to your comments, and no one is trying to say there's no impact. A new project, there will be some traffic increase. There are changes that occur, but from the board's perspective, you have to consider this application and whether it meets all the site plan standards and whether it meets the seeker requirements. And so this is essentially saying that there won't be a significant adverse impact that needs mitigation. We all recognize there's change. So I just wanted to express that.
Thank you.
So if you're ready. If the board is prepared, there's a negative declaration that was prepared. If somebody wants to make a motion, it's as indicated on there. This is an unlisted action. If you're okay with the proposed secret negative declaration, it would be appropriate to make a motion to, I just want to confirm that, or make it, as part of the motion, confirm that the Suffern Planning Board is the lead agency with respect to this, and adopting the negative declaration as prepared or prepared by Nelson Pope, Voorhees, Bonnie France.
Do we have a motion to adopt the negative declaration?
I'll make that motion.
Is that Mr. Byrne?
It is.
We have a second? Second. Mr. Van Sickle, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Do you want to let me poll everybody?
No, it's not necessary.
Okay.
So there's still some site plan issues. We want to adjourn it for...
So, Ms. Franson, there are site plan issues that you mentioned. I am assuming you are in process of dealing with those?
Yeah.
I think, I have a question to you, but I'm happy to answer it. I think the ball is in our court to go through the memos prepared by Nelson Pope and NPV to make sure that we were submitting a complete set of plans for your board so that we can move forward.
So we'll adjourn this to July?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
July or August, whatever you feel is...
We could turn to July date.
With the additional changes to the stormwater, it requires that they have to redesign some elements of the plan. So we've asked for some additional landscaping, so in addition to whatever comments we had previously, we need a full site plan set that shows whatever needs to be rearranged for the stormwater basins. I don't think it's a lot, but it has to be shown. So that's why this is not at a point to approve the project, and ultimately we'd like the time to put together a formal resolution that outlines all the conditions that the applicant will have to meet.
So would July 22nd work, or do you need an
Is that
extra
the
month?
3rd or the 4th?
That's the 3rd. The 4th would be the 29th.
No, that's the 4th.
Oh, no, sorry, no, that is the 4th.
If it's the 4th, yes.
Okay.
So, and if it's not ready, the matter can be continued.
Sorry?
If it's not ready
We'll
for
continue
the
it
board
to
to
August.
consider it, or if the applicant's not ready, we could just adjourn it.
We just
without
adjourn it
interference, yeah.
into August, the next meeting, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will
So this hearing's adjourned
adjourn
to
to
22nd,
22nd of July,
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Thank you. All right. Next, let's...
Oh, and by the way, they're saying that the grass is a little high there. Can you get somebody to take care of the grass?
Yes, sir, I think we've already conveyed that. I heard that earlier today, and we're going to...
I believe the gentleman's here for 78 East Maltby, so we'll have you come up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Pierre Oscar, 78 East Maltby.
You have a copy of the map, Joanne?
Hold this one moment. Is this it? That's all right.
And the,
Pierre, do you have new maps?
I mean, I know we had submitted everything to you, nothing since we last talked, but there was new maps given.
and do you have the GML review? All right, just so the board's aware, this, the board granted a subdivision approval to this lot about a year ago. There are certain time constraints within which the applicant must file that subdivision map with the county the county clerk, and that was not done in time, no fault of the village. So because it was too late, now the county clerk will not accept it for filing, so he had to come back. So there's really not much difference than what occurred previously. I do see that the map has changed in that I think the driveway had spilled over from Lot 1 into Lot 2, but that appears to have been corrected. So other than that, the only other thing to address is the county planning. The one issue I saw with county planning, and anything that any approvals here will be subject to the county planning's comments in their letter dated May 26th, except one was number 5, and it says, as a result of the proposed subdivision, the existing driveway on Lot 1 appears to no longer comply with village code. The site plan must be amended to demonstrate compliance, or a variance that must be obtained. To me, I'm going to suggest the village board the village planning board override that, because I think that's a misinterpretation of the code. This is a paved driveway. My interpretation of that, and in practice, is that many of the driveways are, are as shown here, and that applies where there's not necessarily a driveway. So that would be the only issue where there would be a subdivision. Also, they mentioned about no designated street line, but I believe it is in there. And I think otherwise the the planning board, if so chooses, is in a position to reaffirm and reapprove the subdivision here. And
Anybody have any questions, comments? And we've already approved this, so it's, all right, do we have a motion to?
So first I would say, sorry,
Go ahead.
it would be a motion to reaffirm the previously issued secret. This would be a negative declaration. This would be an unlisted action under secret. I would declare intention to be lead agency. And again, to avoid segmentation issues, you would already issued a negative declaration, so I'd recommend that you reaffirm the previously issued negative declaration. Take a motion on that.
Do we have a motion to reaffirm the previous negative declaration?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Halper, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Van Sickle, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Then the next will be a motion to approve, and after the first, we'll do a motion to override.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the application?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Byrne, do we have a second?
Second.
So
Mr.
before we
Halper?
go further, I'd ask the board to take a look at number 5 and take a separate motion to override number 5 of the county planning's letter dated May 26, 2026.
Did you get this from the owner?
I did, please. Yeah, so we're overriding number 5. Yep.
Do we have a motion to override item number 5?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Halper, do you have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Van Sickle?
And again, the reason
more.
being that I believe it's a misinterpretation of the law, and not applicable.
It's as a misinterpretation of the law, it is not applicable. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Is there anything else?
And then a final, all in favor of the approved subdivision.
And do we have a motion to approve the subdivision of the 2 lots?
Well, we already had that motion, but just to take all in favor.
Oh, okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Good luck to you.
So now you have to meet the conditions and, go through all
It's
that.
all subject to the
Just get them their paperwork.
Joanne, thank you.
All right, I believe we have the folks here from
DC?
DC family. We'll jump over there. Just so you know, 14 Wayne Avenue is being held over to July.
Hello, good afternoon.
So please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Celso Arevalo. And
You gotta yell it at us.
my name is Celso Arevalo.
Okay, what's the address?
My living address, or where I live, or where I'm doing the. 78 Lafayette Avenue, Suffern, New York.
Okay. So yeah, we have the application. So just, walk us through the application, please. What you're planning to do there.
Oh, it's just a barbershop studio.
Okay.
They don't need to walk us through this.
Yeah, we're seeing, okay. I mean, we have the narrative.
It's all written right here. They're making a salon with like 2 sinks.
Yeah, it's on. Oh, so this has got to be sent out because you're on a state road. We've got to send it out for a GML. And you think that'll be back for September, for July?
Yeah.
Okay. So they've got to have 30 days, and the next meeting will not allow that. So what we're going to do is we're going to send it out, get it back, and we're going to put you on the meeting as soon as. If we get it back early, we'll put you on in July. Otherwise, we'll put it on in August, and we'll go from there. Is there a sign application as well? Should we ask for that too? Okay. I'm assuming you're going to put a sign up as well outside?
On the sign, no. Just on the window. We're not putting any signs because it's in the back, so we can put a sign there. So it's just gonna be inside, like on the window. There's a window there.
Okay. Now, the reason I ask is if we've got to send it out, if you're going to put a sign, we'd have you do a sign application just so we don't delay it any further. Okay, so our clerk Joanne is going to send this out for GML review, and we will contact you. It'll be no later than August.
Are you Is somebody drawing something on the window? What are you doing in the window?
No, nothing right now.
But there's got to be some sign that says what it is.
Oh, yeah, in the window. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So do you have a model or a
No,
picture?
Oh, not yet, because, first, because we had to, like...
If you want to save some time, get that ready and submit that to Joanne also, and then they could probably take care of both of those in August.
Okay,
That
yeah,
way we
yeah.
don't delay. We don't want you to come back and say, okay, that's great, you don't have a sign app. That's why I asked about the
You have
sign.
the date?
August date, let's see.
The 19th to the 26th.
If you're going 26, I bet you're getting close to
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Labor Day's the 7th.
You go with
19th is the 3rd, right?
19th, you want it?
Isn't it the 3rd?
Yeah.
All right, so it would be August 19th. If we get it back sooner in time for July, we'll have you back in July, otherwise August. But again, my suggestion is get a sign application, fill that out as well, just so we can handle all in one fell swoop and we're not delaying any further.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah, it's on a state road, so we have to send it out for review. All right?
They may
Okay.
ask for a formal site plan,
Yeah.
but this board can waive a formal site plan
Yeah.
under these circumstances.
All right, so we will adjourn this to, we're going to say August, but if we can get it back earlier, it'll be July.
Okay,
That work?
thank you.
Okay.
Come
Yeah,
and
why
see
don't
me
you-
tomorrow, and I'll give you the application and explain the sign, because window signs have to be approved. So I'll explain to you what you need to do.
All right, yeah, thank you so much.
Do we have
Thank
a
you, John.
motion to adjourn this to the August 19th meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, Mr. Byrne. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Halper, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. So we'll see you back. And again, talk to Joanne tomorrow. Let's get this in, and, we're going to try to get this done as quickly as possible.
Thanks
for
so
you.
much, Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, John.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to go back to Body by Julie. That's a sign application. My understanding is that building inspector does not have measurements of the front facade length or height. He can't verify this versus the code, but he is saying that her 6.5 foot by 2 foot proposed sign is okay based on square footage, provided her front facade horizontal length is 9 feet or longer. So how do you think we should,
I would have the person clarify it.
okay,
I mean, they're not here either, right?
no. All right, so,
I brought her other one. She's getting the store right next to where she is. I brought her previous one. She's using the same size sign and the same everything, so let's see what this one.
And I've seen those buildings. I think it's the same size building.
I think it is.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
all right, so with conditions or just,
I mean, I would put it over and just have them clarify. I mean, it's not going to make a difference, right? She's not putting it.
she's like very pregnant.
Oh, jeez, okay.
I want to try to be a little,
Yeah, all right, so if you want to approve it, subject to condition that the front is 9 feet long or
all
longer.
right. Do we, Mr. Halper, have a motion to approve this subject to the front facade being 9 feet or longer?
I'll make that
Do
motion.
we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Byrne, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. Orange and Rockland,
Hold on,
that's...
it's also a window sign. There's also a window sign.
Oh, there's a window sign? He didn't put anything
He
in
probably
here
didn't even
about that.
address it,
All
but
right.
she gave me all the dimensions. And it's less than 10% of the window. This is the height
Okay.
and the width of it,
So then it's conforming.
so that's really shouldn't be an issue.
Should we put forth a formal motion to approve it?
I would include that as part of the previous motion.
All right. Should I actually formally include it?
Sure.
You just did.
You just did.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we are going to formally include this as part of the previous motion. Okay.
Thank you.
It wasn't addressed here. All right, Orange and Rockland. Actually, you know what, Crave Grill and, no, Body by Julie, sorry, we did Crave. Number 6, Orange and Rockland Utilities, 3 Pat Malone Drive. That doesn't have to be sent out?
Not by us, they already sent out the
Okay.
GML with the village board, this is just the recommendation.
So there's nothing for us to...
From us.
Okay.
Well, I had some questions for them. Did they plan on coming, or you don't know, or?
They were not coming.
All right. I mean, a couple of issues that if the board wants to, do a memo, I can prepare a memo, I'll send it around to the board to approve, but it would be to provide calculation regarding impervious surfaces. Need to show adequate screening. It's going to come back here anyway for site plan. Adequate screening, at the site. And anything else if the board, I don't know if the board had any other
They
comments.
already have their drainage agency permit.
Okay.
That came through, and I think that's all that.
So, I mean, Joanne, if you want to do the memo, basically it would be, the planning board recommends that, I'll do it, but the planning board will recommend that they provide clarification regarding the calculation for impervious services. They recommend that the planning board recommends it needs to show adequate screening and must come back for site plan review to the planning board. I'll throw something together. Yeah, you want to make a motion on that?
Do we have a motion to provide the recommendation as outlined by Robert Magrino to the Village of Suffern board?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Halper, do we have a second?
No second.
Mr. Van Sickle, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, number 7, there is a local law and resolution referring to massage parlors in the Village of Suffern, a recommendation to the village board.
I like James Magrino's opinion on this
I'm
too.
going to pass on this.
Do you have any information?
I
on that?
don't have do you have a copy of the local law?
I think it's in the office.
What do we
I
have to
sent
do?
it to everybody.
It's part of the,
Back
when they're
when?
passing a local law like this, they're supposed to send it to the planning board for the planning board's comment.
With regard to what planning?
The use, that use in this
Yeah,
location.
I do have it, Rob.
Is there a law now?
So basically, the law is personal services is amended to include massage parlors. Massage parlors then defined, and it talks about.
Does it discuss when we're going to be taking the field trip to said location to inspect and get a real feel for what's actually going on there?
Not mention anything along those lines, but there are issues with respect to if there's a non-conforming massage parlor that ceases use, that what happens. It also addresses issues related to criminal activity that may take place there. So, if the board wants, it can say recommend, adoption of the law would be appropriate.
Do you know if this includes a free buffet
You're good.
at that place?
I'm not going to comment.
Lunch or breakfast?
All right, any comments on the law? Is it prohibiting massage parlors?
No, it's they're regulating massage parlors. So my
Regulating
suggestion would be to say the planning board, finds the law adequately addresses or addresses issues that are necessary to address this use in the village and recommends approval.
Mr. Van Sickle, any comments?
As long as they follow the law, no problem.
So do we have a motion to recommend adoption of this law to the Village of Suffern board? Motion, anyone?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Mr. Byrnes, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Van Sickle, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any miscellaneous business to discuss? Any old business or new business? And I believe we've already discussed the July meeting date, and that would be July, was it 22nd? We have a motion to approve July 22nd, 2026 as the Village of Suffern Planning Board meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Halper, do we have a second?
A second.
Mr. Byrne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And finally, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Byrne, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Halper, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is
Aye.
adjourned. Thank you, everybody.